Good evening, and welcome to episode number 2 from the Sanders Circus. My name is Craig Sanders, and this is my wife.
Jenny.
We are excited to be with you guys again. Hopefully, you were able to check out episode number 1, where we began this roller coaster ride that we love to call the Sanders Circus. We talked about a little bit of how we met and a
Mm.
little bit of our love life, and we got all the way up to where I asked the big question. And Jenny, I'll tell you, that question wasn't if you were good at putt putt. As we found out in episode 1, you're what?
A cheater.
A cheater. That is
Not
correct.
just at putt-putt, just
Well, hopefully,
every game we play, I always find a way to cheat, so
well, thank you for clarifying, because
I know, I knew where you would go with that,
initially you're
so
saying that you're a cheater at everything. I
just
guess
games.
I guess we can just shut down episode 2 and make sure that this is all over. If you're the cheater here.
No.
So we'll say all games, only games, I guess would be the best way to discuss it. So just a little recap. We talked about those first 10 months of our relationship. And I know even for us, like it was really fun to be able to do that and discuss those first 10 months. And I think since we did our first episode, we've been kind of chuckling and joking back and forth about some of the things that we discussed in those first 10 months and our awesome snorkeling trip that we had
Oh god.
and the story that ended episode 1. But today, what I'd really love to discuss is to talk about really after we've discussed that first 10 months. I want to talk about that kind of next year of our life. I want to talk about me popping the big question and what that was like for you and kind of discuss that a little bit. And then also just talk about our engagement period. I think, and a lot of times in our 20 plus years that we've been doing this, we've had an opportunity to meet with other engaged couples and do some weddings and some different things along those lines and talked with a lot of people. And I think for us, the one thing that we've really discussed with people is how much we grew up in that year of engagement. And so I'd really love to talk about that here in episode 2. And then maybe even talk about some of our very first steps as a married couple and how we finished up maybe college a little bit and got into our big boy and big girl jobs and do a little bit about a little bit of that first. My notes just seems to be itching like crazy here. Maybe somebody's talking about me. Maybe somebody watched our first episode. Maybe that could be the case.
I don't know.
So Jenny, I guess as we get started here, maybe give me some initial thoughts of how much fun you first had doing episode 1, or maybe how nervous you were about it, and how you're feeling coming into episode 2.
I am not a talk to everyone person like Craig. Like, I'll
I think
just
we know that.
yeah, I'll just sit back and be like, "You go do your thing. I'll be here." Like, whatever. I love being supportive and going with them, and I can chit chat, just be nice. But I'm not the outgoing person that will seek out a conversation with someone. So this was a challenge, but also I think it gives me not a purpose, but just something to do that gives meaning. I think it's great that we can rehash everything we've been through, and it just helps you see how grateful we are for the good times and the bad times, because we wouldn't have the good times without the bad times. And we're thankful for those times now going through it. It was always a challenge, but so I think it's great to talk about those things. And I think it was fun. Like, I enjoyed it. I think also I was thinking, well, I'll take notes and like, figure out stuff to say and like all this stuff. But then I learned it's best for Craig just to ask me questions, which is not me either. But I'll think too much into it, and then I'll be like, "I don't like that," or I like I'll become too picky with answers. So I was like, "Just ask me the questions, and then I'll come up with something," which isn't me either. Just it's a growing.
Well, I think you did fantastic. It was a lot of fun. They do have a teleprompter piece on this. But I will say I'm the absolute opposite of you.
Yes.
So I feel like if we did sit down and we did game plan and we did write down all the questions and we did put them on a
You
teleprompter,
wouldn't
that
read them.
I wouldn't be able to read them anyway. So So I think it has been a little bit fun that we've been able to kind of do, just kind of work off of one another and have a little bit of fun doing
Yeah,
it. And I think anytime what we found in our, even in our relationship is when we're going through some of those difficult times or we're sharing those times. I think for you and I, and for even some of our listeners out there, that I would encourage them. That's when we grow closer
yeah,
together. That's when our conversation piece continues to grow. And ultimately, in these day and times, that's when our phones go down and
yeah,
we're able to grow our relationship as
yeah,
husband and wife and not just a mommy and daddy or whatever else the definitions are for different people in our family. It's more about
yeah,
being husband and wife first. And
yeah.
and I think so that was a lot of fun for us for sure. So as we jump into episode number 2, I do want to say to you, I am very grateful, and I did have so much fun doing this, and even setting up tonight. I couldn't wait to do it because I think it's super fun, and I can't wait to continue to do some of that. So we moved right up into that 10-month period where we went through some of the dating pieces. We talked about how we developed a friendship and we talked about our family dynamic a little bit, which that'll be an ongoing piece as we
Yeah.
continue to go through and talk about the people that we love and the people that we've lost and the difficult times and the awesome times and different things along those lines. So I think it's going to be extremely exciting to kind of go through those. But we left off with us being on vacation, a family vacation of mine to Florida, and so
Mhm.
we're in Fort Lauderdale. The sun is beautiful, everything about it is beautiful. We left the viewers with this fun snorkeling story where
Oh my
absolutely
gosh.
we
We will
we
never
yeah,
snorkel again.
yeah, we learned that you can't swim very well, and honestly, now the more I think about it, the more I know where our kids get it that they don't listen to directions, because when you were given directions, you were not listening, you were fighting for your life out there supposedly. So definitely difficult. So when we left off there, we just had that was at the kind of very beginning of the trip. And I think for myself, like I had the ring with me at all times. And I had tried to develop a game plan of how we were going to get to the point of this ring opportunity of me getting down on one knee and asking for your hand. But prior to that, we had this cool opportunity. We were there during July 4th, and we had the awesome opportunity to go to the Intercoastal Waterway. And why don't you just kind of talk about this? Is one of the things that we love to do, even for you and I before we had the kiddos, but even with the kiddos, we loved watching fireworks. So, why don't you just talk about maybe that trip a little bit and how cool that was of being on the boat and those type of things.
I always loved July 4th because of the fireworks. When we moved to Gallipolis, then the night before the lighting of the Christmas in town, they had fireworks too. So we got to take the kids. One time, I think, like, we're like, "All right, like, they may be ready for this." But every 4th of July, I always looked forward to it. I just love seeing the sky light up and the different colors and just how awesome it is. And so being on that trip and being on a boat, laying there, looking up at the sky, like, it was awesome. It was just a lot of fun, and it was just great to be there.
Well, I tell you, I kind of kicked myself a little bit when we were on that trip. I We got to go on this small little boat on the Intercoastal Waterway, and where we were actually sitting, there were no other boats around us, and literally, it was a fireworks show all around us.
Yeah,
It was like 4 and 5 different areas, like this full view all the way around the boat, where you were like trying to catch the fireworks and
yeah.
see all of the cool fireworks. And of course, we were at the very end of the boat. We were with some of my family on the boat, but at the same time too, like I was thinking to myself, man, this would have been a great time to pop the question right there and to get that firework answer. But I think it was a fun experience for me,
Yeah.
especially coming off of the snorkeling, the red
We're like,
flag.
"Will this get
Uh,
better?"
but the firework experience was just absolutely phenomenal and something that I don't think I'll ever forget. And the same with you too. And so as we progress on this week-long trip, we got to do so many fun things. And so we get to the night, July 9th of what year, Jenny?
Gemini. Well, we got married in 2004 and we were
Okay.
engaged for a year.
Okay.
So 2003?
So 2003, the summer of 2003. So that would have been I came to school in 2002. We worked our way
Yeah.
through spring semester and then through fall semester of 2002, and
Yeah.
then in that early spring of '03, we something we didn't necessarily talk about, but that was one of my PNG. That's one of my mission trips
Yeah.
that we kind of went on, and we'll probably touch on some ministry pieces as we kind of walk through this a little bit. But then that summer of '03 is when we got engaged on July 9th. And so we go to this restaurant that my aunt Carol suggested. Can you tell me a little bit about that restaurant? What was like some cool things that maybe we saw, or some things about it that you remember?
I just remember, we have a little cup to of a memory, but I remember the, dessert, was it? It was like a volcano, and it had, like, fruit and, like, all sorts of things. That's all I remember.
Well, I'll tell you guys that, of course, being from southeastern Ohio and Gallipolis and Jenny being from Chillicothe, our most of the time we go to Dirty Myrtle for vacation. So even when we go to fancy dinners, they're not super fancy. But in Florida, we went to this Polynesian restaurant, and so there were some like hula dancers and some different things along those lines performing a show. That was so cool. Lots of fire, lots of crazy things going on. And of course, too, the entire time I've got this ring in my pocket and I'm trying to figure out like what the heck I'm doing. Like I'm a nervous wreck throughout dinner. And they bring out this volcano that, like Jenny said, had fruit all over it. They put this liquid inside of it and, of course, lit it on
Yeah.
fire and
Yeah.
things
I remember
popped
that,
out of
yeah.
it. And it was super cool. We do have a cup that we got from there that's this like Polynesian kind of totem pole kind of looking creation piece that we have from that. And of course, unpacking in our new house, that was one of the cool things that we kind of pulled out and were able to kind of tell the kids a little bit about. But super fun evening for sure. And I remember talking with my Aunt Carol kind of behind the scenes, trying to figure out, okay, where and what should I do? Like, where is a good place for this? And so she was like, hey, what you should do is take her down by the boardwalk. You guys can go on this nice little walk, and there's, a fountain there and some different things along those lines. And so I think it will be great, Craig. And I'm like, okay. So we leave the restaurant. We get to drive in her cool car, which at the time was the throwback T-Bird that had I think it was a convertible even or T-tops or something like that. It was this cool.
I thought it was a
Uh,
bug, Beagle
maybe
bug,
maybe maybe it was her
convertible
maybe it was her
Beagle
Volkswagen.
bug.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe a Volkswagen. Cool, of course, my Aunt Carol, cool cars all the time. She got all kinds of cool things and cool cars. So maybe it was the bug. Maybe it was the VW bug when they came back out. And so we drive down by the boardwalk and we go find this fountain. And of course, like again, absolutely nervous wreck. Um,
Well, I remember you saying later, like, because of course back then we held hands because we were newly, now it's like, whatever, we don't have, we're not doing that.
no PDA.
Yeah,
No, no
we
PDA.
got 3 kids. Like, we weren't really PDA people, but at least you held my hand in public, I
Yes,
guess. And
yes,
now we've just been married too long.
yeah.
But I remember you telling me later that I would like switch hands or something because I might be looking at a store or something. And so then he would have to like take the ring out of the pocket, like, or do
Switch it
something.
around, of
I
course. Yeah.
was
I'm.
like, of course, I can't make it easy on you. Like,
Yeah,
it has to
yeah.
be a challenge.
Yeah, and for sure, the boxes were the magnificent, like, huge, boxes in my pocket. Clearly, it was,
Yeah.
I'm walking down the street, probably people are like, "What in the world does he have in his pocket?" So we get to this fountain area. It is really cool. It's really beautiful, but honestly, it was also super duper dark.
It was.
There were lights kinda everywhere else except where we were, and we were, like,
Yeah.
looking for this spot, and of course, I'm the romantic guy, to a
Back
certain
then.
extent. Yeah, yeah, kinda back then. I try to make my game strong, but every once in a while, we'll see how it goes. And so we find this spot, we sit down, And one of the questions that we would always ask is like, and you might have to correct me or help me with this phrase a little bit, but we'd always ask like, how much do you love me? Or
In our notes, different
yeah,
things like that, we'd
yeah,
always put
yeah, like how much do you love me? Or I love you more, or it was something along
yeah,
those lines, right?
yeah.
And so my thought process is that I would get to that question and I would make Jenny ask me that question. I would maybe try to prompt her to ask me that question. Of course, Jenny being Jenny and you guys being around her, again, going back to the whole can't follow directions
Yeah.
piece, I'm like throwing these lobs up for her to figure out and to help. It's this romantic night. We had great dinner. It's on
Oh,
my birthday,
I had no idea what you were gonna do, though.
lots of great things, and couldn't get her to ask the question. So finally I did,
Sad.
almost like, "Aren't you gonna ask me?" Blah, 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 almost trying to bait her, and finally basically just laying it plumb out for her. And then she said, "Well, how much do you love me?" And I say, "Well, let me show you." And of course, I get down on one knee and present the box to her and say, "Will you marry me?" And of course, um,
Yes.
yes, which hopefully you still say yes today,
Yeah.
correct? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
Uh,
most days.
yeah, most days, most days. We do have the kids now, so it does make it a little harder. But we get this yes out, and leading up to this, I will say, I did not let Jenny pick out her ring or any of those things. I wanted to make sure that I did it and that it was a surprise. So,
Yeah.
something I would always do is she would take her rings and she would take them off, and I would take them off her hand and I would like slide them on my pinky or slide them on a finger and see kind
So
of where
sly.
they stopped to try to see if I could get the right size for the ring. Well, let me just say, epic fail. I did absolutely terrible. I think she wore like a size 4 and somehow I got a 7 or something just absolutely
It was big.
like ginormous. Honestly, because I was taking those rings and putting them on my finger, and I don't know, maybe who knows what. I don't know what the issue was, but I absolutely struck out and did terrible that way. So when I gave her the ring and she went to put it on, I remember it like basically coming off her
Yeah.
hand and us trying to figure out, man, what are we going to do and how are we going to do this? And again, absolute nervous wreck. We're at the beach. I'd read all these different things of like, hey, make sure, there's all these different stories. There wasn't videos back then or TikToks about it. All these video, it
So
wasn't all
long
these
ago.
videos. It was more word of mouth of like, hey, don't let her lose that ring.
Yeah.
But I do remember just the excitement that we had for one another and us taking a walk kinda down the boardwalk and down the street just a little bit, and just everybody kinda knowing that it was happening except for Jenny, which was kinda cool. There was a lot of excitement from her family and from our family. Do you remember, or do you happen to remember, I know it was forever ago, but, like, who was the first person you called, and, like, maybe what were some of the things that you said, or, like, somebody that you talked to that you thought, "Man, I can't wait to call them. This is gonna be so cool to talk to them about it."
I don't remember. I remember packing my friend April. She had some like dressier clothes, and I remember thinking, I want to look nice. Like we might go out to a nice restaurant and something. But I don't remember after who I called.
Who'd you call?
I remember us going back to like the hotel and your family
Yeah.
being there. They had like a cake and everything because they all knew. And so we celebrated and took some pictures and different
Yes.
things. So I remember that. Like it was probably, like, more of my mom or dad or something like that that I called, so
Yeah, we'll have to when we go back and we get super creative here as we progress into this. We'll have to figure out how we can drop some pictures in and show some of those sweet outfits. I think I had a
well, I would say I would show my ring, but I already
yeah.
took it off for the day,
Oh
so
my
since I was
goodness,
cooking well,
man.
not cooking, you
Yes,
cooked, but
I
I
cooked.
was cleaning.
Yeah, I cooked dinner for
You
sure.
did.
I absolutely cooked dinner
So
for sure.
so I
Uh,
don't have it on, maybe later.
so I think just for us, like it's just been one of those things for us that we've really loved, kind of the time and the fun that we've had with our sorry about this, trying to adjust that camera, figuring this out on the fly here just a little bit. Let me see if I can figure this out.
It likes you more than me,
Yeah,
so it's fine.
there we go. There we go.
Oh,
Oh, maybe. Uh, we'll just do that. We'll just move. We'll just move the whole deal. This is what happens when you're new. Now it's moving everywhere, and we're trying to figure this out. So I think for us, it was just such a fun moment, such a
Yeah.
fun evening for sure, and we couldn't really wait to tell our families about it because they are such an important piece to us. And I know, like, you of course called your mom and talked to your aunt Becky and different things like that.
Yeah.
And it was clearly this camera is just it's fighting us. It's fighting us. Let's see what we got here. There we go. Maybe. There we go. Well, maybe.
Mhm.
See, this is the real right here. Okay. Miss Know It All, what I like to call Dr. Luann, knows everything. So we're trying to fix it here. Let's see what we got. There we go. Perfect. All right, back to the game. Here we go. We're good now. It's in our face a little bit, but other than that, we're pretty good. Get that wide angle going. So when we walked down the street, we started making these phone calls. Like you said, we were able to kind of go back, and it was really cool to
Yeah.
see some of my family members there, and for them to have kind of that cake waiting on us, and get some kind of first engagement pictures and showing
Yeah.
off the ring. And back in those days, you had the old flip phones and some different things along those lines. So it was real camera time. It wasn't a get
Yeah.
your iPhone out and make
Yeah.
things happen at that point. I would say there were probably iPhones out, but we weren't cool enough to have one yet.
Mhm.
So yeah, just a great opportunity for us. And I'm pretty sure I had one of my cool like FUBU shirts on or something like that, just looking super cool. And I do remember that you would wear those shirts with the Randy Macho Man Savage ribbon that would go down would go down
Oh my
them. And just sweet shirts. Probably Jenny, honestly, those are probably ready for a comeback, to be very honest. But just remember that night tremendously, and just the fun that we had, and the week that we had there, getting to that point, and being nervous and scared and excited kind of all at the same time, which is really neat. And I think you've made reference to the Sanders Circus and the roller coaster ride. I mean, even that for that trip right there, there were some of those moments, of course, with the snorkeling piece, but then also the highs of the highs of being able to celebrate our love together
Yeah.
and some different things along those lines, and be able to spend some quality
Yeah.
time with family too. And so as we came back home, of course, it's the middle of summer, and so we're back to kind of working and doing our thing, and you had the opportunity to start to kind of plan a wedding a little bit. And for us, I think it great gave us a great opportunity to, yes, we knew each other and we'd been building a friendship and a relationship. But I think, Jenny, what it did for us most in that year of our engagement was it really helped us as individuals to grow up a little bit. And in
Yeah.
some of that, we were able to we did some premarital counseling and some different things like
Yes.
that, which is always a suggestion if you're thinking about getting married, whether you know Jesus or not, or whether you're having it in a church or not having it in a church, or having it in a barn, or wherever, or whatever you're doing. I would seek some counsel of just maybe some close friends at the very least,
Yeah.
that maybe are ahead of you in the journey, but also to meet with some folks and to really gain some insight on how
Yeah.
things are going well, or how to make things go well,
Yeah.
or in the bad times, what do you do? And I
Well, I
think,
think it just makes you think about some questions and it makes you talk to each other about just different topics. Like, it just challenges you to talk about those just not rough parts, but just parts that might be hard to talk about. And it just makes you do it.
yeah, I think we got to spend some quality time with Dan Tipton, and I really appreciated that. I will say that you knew Dan Tipton a lot better than what I did, and I was a little bit scared. I didn't know how that conversation was really going to go, but he really just loved us for us, which is kind of a theme as you continue kind of to walk with us a little bit. That you're gonna understand is that we try to love every person we come in contact with the same, and with as much love as possible.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we fail and we struggle, and we're great parents one day and terrible parents the next, and I'm a great husband one day and a terrible husband the next. But I think for us, that is a goal of being a great friend, and
Yeah.
being have the opportunity to build great relationships with people too. So as we came back, we began this. journey of a year of growing up, what were some things for you that as you were planning the wedding, and even for us as a couple, that maybe something that kind of stuck out to you, a story or a piece where you saw maybe the most growth, or maybe an element in where you were struggling, or maybe I was struggling, or we were struggling as a couple, even?
Well, I think just nowadays we're like, go elope. Go somewhere, have like just do it by yourselves. Like, don't let people tell you what to do or not to do. But back in that day, it was very traditional. Had it at the church, which, being in a church family, like my grandpa was doing the wedding, like I wanted all of that. But it's very traditional. And so I think for having the year, it was good for us. Sometimes it was bad, sometimes it was good, but we got to know each other's families like super well. We got to
Whether we wanted
know
to or not, right?
we got to know each other and the challenges that were faced with, Craig not getting his way with having chips and salsa at the
Yeah,
wedding.
yeah.
Just like us figuring out, well, Craig's more of the fashion guru in this relationship. I am not. So just seeing those different things and talking about those different things, like I I think it was good. And then going through college too, like it was hard doing all of those things. So I'm glad we had a year and we could grow closer together. We could get to know each other more about the little details that we didn't really maybe know because now it was new topics, new conversation. So yeah, I think it was long, but it was good.
Well, I think even too, like when we talk about, you made reference to the chips and salsa, but as you start to do this wedding planning stuff, it's not as fun and as glamorous as
No.
everybody makes
Uh-uh.
it out to be. You work very hard, especially if you're on a very limited budget, or maybe even a big budget. You are working very diligent on, who you want to invite and how many
Yeah.
people you want to invite and why you want those specific people
Yeah.
there, but maybe you don't invite the rest of the people there. And then you hear your parents say, well, you have to ask, twice removed Uncle Jimmy,
Yeah.
because, he was a big part of your life, never, but,
Yeah.
or whatever it might be. I think Jenny and I, honestly, what we try to do was, and this will be a theme too. We tried to include, honestly, as many people as we possibly could,
Yeah.
as many people that affected our lives, or even to a certain extent, listen to our family of like who affected maybe their life. That
Yeah.
maybe some of the things that they didn't get to do. I know that there were a lot of the comments, especially coming out of my mouth, of, "Hey, this is our wedding. This isn't your wedding." But there were also some positive pieces
Yeah.
of that too, of maybe seeing some things that maybe they didn't get to do that maybe we did, and so I think that there are some positives when you kind of go through that a little bit. But
Have you shared that July 9th is your birthday?
yeah, yeah,
You did?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's the day we got engaged.
Yeah.
I don't know why this camera keeps doing this thing here.
At this moment likes me
Yeah,
more.
yeah, there we go.
But then with our wedding, the dinner rehearsal, we celebrated Craig's birthday too. So
Yes,
that
yeah,
was fun. We had
we did a Hawaiian
a
night.
Hawaiian theme because of
Yeah.
us getting engaged in Florida. Like
Yeah,
we just
and
had more fun
we
with
were
it.
supposed to go to Hawaii on our honeymoon. We went to Cancun,
We're
so I
not
guess
going to talk
that's
about this stuff.
I guess that's
So,
it. I mean, we're gonna talk about that. I mean, yeah, we're gonna definitely talk about that a
like I
little bit.
said, Craig has opinions
Yeah,
and we learned a lot about each other.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So in this year, like we said, I would definitely encourage you, if you are listening to this and you're listening to our story a little bit, and you're just picking up some of the pieces of who we are and what we're doing, my suggestion would be definitely have a lengthy engagement. I mean, there are a lot of successful wedding our marriages that it was real short and
Yeah.
real quick, but I think it does give you a great opportunity to learn about the people around you, which is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So Jenny did say on the rehearsal night was my birthday, so it was 1 year to the rehearsal night, and then we did get married. On what day did we get married?
I mean, July 10th.
July 10th, of course.
Is there something
Um,
special?
there
Like,
there might have been.
oh, well, let me tell you what he did the morning of. So nowadays, people have like these elaborate, like get togethers, like all this stuff. It wasn't back it wasn't popular back then. But then Craig decided to go play
Well,
softball
yeah,
with
yeah.
all the groomsmen and everything, and I said, which I'm not like, "Do this," or, anything like that, but on that day, yes, I did. So I said, "Even if you break both legs, you are going down this aisle and you are getting married to me. I don't care what kind of shape you're in, but if you get hurt, this is happening." So I was very, adamant about you're gonna be here. Like, so if you wanna go play softball, that's fine, but you are coming no matter what. On a stretcher, I don't care.
Yeah, so, got to play 2 games of softball in a softball tournament that morning, and I had fun, hit the ball well, which is good, and, made sure, that both my legs worked as we, walked down the aisle there. I kid with Jenny about what day because, she has a Bible where
Yeah,
she
I
wrote
remember
she's been
now.
writing down kinda all the very significant dates of her life. She had the engagement date correct, July 9th, 2003, but the wedding date she had as July 9th, 2004. And honestly, I was looking through there and was like, hey, this has been a handful of years ago now. So it wasn't right off the jump. I looked in there and said, hey, what date did we get married on? Because I think you got it wrong here. So yeah, so definitely got to have some fun on that day. What a beautiful day for us. Jenny's grandpa, like I said,
Yeah,
like she said, he did the ceremony. It was absolutely fantastic. I had tried to learn how to play the guitar because I thought I was going to be like Keith Urban and sing a cool song, play
back in
her,
the day, we
yeah,
like
play her favorite song. But clearly, I'm not nearly as talented as him, and just kind of gave up and was like, well, I'll just read some fun stuff there. So we're able to do that, and it was just a beautiful day with a lot of friends of our family. We also had a reception. The reception was a really neat thing, and even in that, I'll tell you, like Jenny and I thought we had all of those I's dotted and T's crossed, and of course, even through the reception, like you're still running around with your chicken with your head cut off because we didn't necessarily get a wedding planner or do anything along those lines. We literally just decided to kind of wing it ourselves. And shout out to some of the First Church of God ladies, like Angie Burns and Robin Johnson too, who's she passed away of cancer a handful of years ago now, but was just very a big part of our relationship. And I appreciate those ladies coming from Gallipolis and helping with the food and make the food and keep the food together and do all those fun things and just be a very big part of that day for us. And it was really neat. And so we got to dance. And of course, you talked about how traditional it was. We had to have it in a cafetorium instead of at the church because and the denomination that we're part of, the dancing piece and the church was not really allowed. I think they've kinda loosened up a little bit on some of those things along those lines, but at first it was one of those things that was a little bit crazy there. But what a beautiful day for us. We got fantastic pictures, a cool video that maybe one day we'll see. That'll be a story for a different day. But yeah, just an absolute, just beautiful time.
and then
Um
the thunder.
Oh, yes. So,
That
one
should've see, we
here we
talk
go.
about
Yes,
precursors,
yes.
like, what is this, number 3 or
Yes.
100?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, the roller coaster ride for the circus as, all the groomsmen and the bridesmaids came down the aisle, made their way down the aisle, and right as they opened the doors for Jenny to walk through. You could see there was a stained glass window, so you could see the lightning, and then you heard boom, big thunder, and I think I was mic'd up and was like, I don't think that's a good.
yeah, I
I don't
remember
know if
you
that's a good
talking about
idea or not.
that.
And it kind of lightened the mood. The crowd laughed, and here came Jenny down the aisle. And you talk about a moment that I'll
Oh
never forget,
gosh.
mostly because of how beautiful and sappy. Here's my sappy. How beautiful
You're
Jenny
gonna
was.
start crying.
No, I think I'm good. That'll be for later. You will see the tears later from me.
He's the
Maybe not from Jenny, but from me for sure. But seeing Jenny come down the aisle there, but also that's definitely a memory that we won't forget. That thunder and hearing that,
should
and
have been.
yeah, it's definitely another sign, another red flag, another piece of the roller coaster ride that we continue to be on here with this Sanders Circus here. And so, so in this episode too, you've heard a recap a little bit about our first 10 months together, our year engagement, and our wedding day, which was just absolutely fantastic. And even now, working on 20 plus years for us here, just absolutely fantastic to think about those moments and those people that were in
Yeah.
the room, and some of those people that are still clearly in our life, and those maybe that have went on to be with Jesus. Like, it's kind of neat to reminisce on those
Yeah.
things for sure. So what I'll do here, we've got a few more minutes here in episode 2, and so I just thought we could end on a funny, too much information, TMI
Oh,
a
it's hard to
story
tell.
as we close out with episode 2. But you've heard me say multiple times that when we went on our honeymoon, that I personally wanted to go to Hawaii, but Jenny talked me into going to Cancun, into Mexico, and so as we finished our wedding night. Honestly, first and foremost, we didn't have anybody to take us to the airport. A lot of people kind of already left. Some people were helping pick up and clean up. That was another thing that maybe we should have planned a whole lot better on. Basically, we got done with the reception and then also had to kind of change clothes and pick up and clean up
Well, and
everything.
then on the way to the
Yes.
airport, we stopped by, like,
Yeah.
Wendy's or
Yeah.
McDonald's
Yeah.
to get some
Yeah,
food,
we stopped by Wendy's because we had all of this food and all this
but we
fantastic
didn't get a
stuff,
chance to
but
eat.
didn't get to eat like even a bite. So I would tell you guys, as a married couple, and even in some of the premarital counseling that I do, I always say like, hey, make sure you eat
Yeah.
beforehand,
Yeah.
or you find time to literally sit and put some food in your face, because we didn't get that opportunity.
Yeah.
So we had a friend take us to the airport, and we fly out to Cancun, and a beautiful flight down. We made it down there okay. Got all of our luggage there, all of those fun things. Go to the room. The room is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
We go to an all-inclusive place, absolutely beautiful there. And so we get through the first night on a Sunday night, I believe, a Sunday night, and I had a great time on Sunday night. We go on Monday. I had scheduled this dinner cruise for steak and lobster. Now Jenny
I
here,
love
yes,
seafood.
yeah, Jenny absolutely loves the seafood. I honestly, however old I was at the time, had never eaten seafood, didn't have any thought process about it. But I have that Sanders gene where I'm a little bit tight at different times, and thought, well, if I'm going to pay for this dinner and this boat cruise, and it's going to be a little expensive, I'm definitely going to eat the lobster. So we go on this cruise. What do you remember about the actual cruise, Jenny? And, like, maybe some of the views or the boat, or, like, do you remember anything along those lines?
We have a picture of it, so just bring back some memories, but it was a cool boat type thing. It wasn't just the traditional boat that you ride on. And then, just they had different things going on, just would bring you hors d'oeuvres or something like that. Kind of fancy, but I don't remember if we had a table or whatever, but it was cool. It was cool to be in the water and be somewhere new, just looking out and seeing the views of, whatever was around us. So it was nice.
So, the joke that we always say is that our honeymoon, that I didn't get much sleep, and we didn't leave the hotel room very much, and so, of course, before your minds wander, let me help you understand why we didn't leave very much. So, eating the lobster and eating the steak and different things along those lines, that evening about 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
I start not feeling very good. I end up going, this is the too much information, TMI, for every one of our viewers. I start going to the bathroom and I started getting super duper sick. I end up
Yeah.
yelling for Jenny. And of course, in our vows, it says, what?
For sicker, for poor.
Yeah.
I mean, we tested that out
Yes.
right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, there was just so many signs for us, but we
Yes.
stuck together.
So,
So
uh,
at
so
least we knew we would do that.
yeah, so basically fly in on Sunday, Monday get sick.
Day. It was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
good day on Monday, go
day.
to the dinner cruise Monday
And
night,
then it just
and then it fell off the cliff very quickly, and I was sick all week
yeah.
long. I ended up losing about 15 pounds, barely made it to the flight on the way home.
I couldn't even
Just
let people, like, come
yeah,
in to clean the room,
yeah,
like, he wasn't good, like and then if I needed them to, he would have to go sit out on the balcony. It wasn't like we left the room, like, basically, we just hung out and he stayed in bed.
yeah. So we got to hang out by the pool one day and by the ocean just that Monday, and
Yeah.
that was the extent of it. And so, of course, too, there was a language barrier there. The majority of the people spoke Spanish. We did not speak any Spanish. So honestly, they just thought that I'd partied too hard,
Yeah.
uh, and would kind of laugh and different things like that. And I just could not keep anything down. Jenny had an awful experience at going to like a local mall too.
It was across the street, and so he needed, something to help him not be sick to his stomach or like some Gatorade or something. So I had to walk across the street, and their malls weren't circular like ours kind of is. And it was just like a maze trying to get through it. And I was by myself, different area. Of course, there was like guys who weren't the nicest, and I'm by myself trying to find, a pharmacy type place. Finally find one, but like by the time I got back to Craig, like I was crying because it was so stressed and trying to figure it all out. And like we said, because I'm not that type of person that is brave and will just, but I wanted to help him feel better. So
Yeah, yeah. So in that in sickness and in health piece, I definitely jumped right out
we
for
did.
us,
We tested it.
and it was a really rough time. Even the mall trip was just to get some Gatorade and to try to get some fluids in me because clearly at the hotel they have alcohol, and that's about the extent of it. And water from a pool, and all we were told was don't drink the water, don't drink the water. So very difficult week for sure. We finally get back into Ohio. I honestly really struggled for probably the next month or so. I just really feeling pretty bad and trying to get my weight back up and different things along those lines. And so, as we get ready and close this episode two out, that is the too much information part of the Sanders Circus, part of the ride that you guys are taking with us. But just know, as we have set the stage for these first two episodes, that as we move forward, you're going to learn more and more and more about Jenny and I, and then we're going to get to introduce our three rowdy kids of Sophia, who's 6, Alex, who is 4, who's getting ready to turn 5, and JC, who just turned 4. And so I hope you guys stick with us. This is the end of episode 2. If you are just seeing episode 2 right now, I would love for you to go back and check out episode 1 and listen to how Jen and I first met and how we began to grow together. But we would love to see you guys on our next episode, on episode 3. I hope you have a great evening and a great day. And this is the Sanders Circus signing
Yeah.
off. Have a great evening. See
See
ya.
ya.